All right, my friends, welcome to episode 113 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I'm the professor, Larry, speaking too fast apparently, at Prof Plays Games on Twitter, and over there is Summer Speak, at Anthony on Twitter. I just got that all wrong. Don't tweet at Anthony.
I don't know who. I should find out who that is.
You should find out who that is. That's at Summer Speak. His name is Anthony. He's a developer. How's your weekend been?
It's been good.
Yeah.
At home with the kids mostly. Wife's been out doing her tax preparation classes, and then she had another obligation today. So it's been rainy and cold up here, so sitting inside, doing some chores, but have a fire going.
Nice.
Pretty relaxing. Have the Switch, which is amazing still, just to let you know. It's exactly the console I needed.
Super aware that it's awesome, yeah? So what makes it the one you needed right now? Just the portability or what?
Yeah, portability.
Okay.
And it's super easy for me to, like I said, the dock sits on my desk. And sometimes I'll just pick it up and I'm like, oh, I can mess around with it for like 10 minutes. And then turn it off, dock it, and go do what I'm going to do.
Right.
Or take it with me, have it sitting on like a counter somewhere. So when I finish a chore, I can sit down for a little bit, play for a little bit of time, go do other stuff. It's just can always be there when I want it to be without issue. I don't have to go to the living room. It doesn't take time to boot up. Nothing. Just
that's the thing,
play.
is it's so quick to get in and out of.
Yeah.
And you're right. You don't have to be in a particular place, and
nope.
It can be anywhere. And your son is still playing Odyssey?
Yeah, he beat. What did he beat? He had a little bit of frustration yesterday. We had to stop the session early because he got. He was tired already. Yeah. Like you could just tell, like he was having a hard time. There was a couple signs yesterday throughout the day as the day went on that you're like, oh, you're tired. Like you're having a hard time like regulating like emotional state.
Right.
But he played and he got to the final boss of the desert area.
Oh yeah,
the pyramid, ice pyramid dude, the hole in the ground, and you have to like control the hands. The hands and punch him.
Uh-huh.
And first time he played it once, first time lost pretty quickly. But you started figuring out the pattern. Like, okay.
Uh-huh.
Second time he played, he got 2 hits and then died before he could get the third hit. And that was what put him over the edge.
Uh-huh.
It was just too much. Got too frustrated. We stopped. And then today I asked him, like, all right, do you want to try it again? Do you feel like you're calm enough and you could try it? And he's like, and him, when he's in a better emotional state, he's like, I'll think about it. Which, coming from a 7-year-old, you're like, okay,
that's pretty good.
You will think about your emotions and see how you're feeling. I'm like, well, it'll be after lunch. You can tell me if you feel like it, or if you feel like you're ready to try that again.
Right.
And he decided he was ready, and yeah, he did it in one shot at that point.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's assist mode is on, so whatever that. It puts arrows up and it makes dying not as painful.
Right, and it gives you more health and all that stuff.
Gives you more health, but he didn't need the extra health on this try. Like, he got hit once, I think, on his one full attempt today. Then he beat that and then went back to the Odyssey and put his stars in, and now he realized he needs 6 more moons before he can leave. And so...
Oh, I didn't know that you could even go to the boss until you had enough moons.
No, it doesn't matter. You just do it, and then, yeah, he has to find 6 more. Mm-hmm. But we stopped at the moment.
Right.
So yeah, so it's been fun watching him. It's definitely interesting when I think I'm like, oh, will he be able to do this? He's able to do it.
Yeah, it seems like a game that's skewed toward a younger audience, but has a ton of stuff for older people too. And I guess that you're proving that with your son's
definitely.
Work with the game. They want to have it accessible for multiple ages, so that's I think for some of us, like the boss battles are kind of not trite, but it's definitely like the 3-hit kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just a 3-hit, which is pretty much a stereotype of what all Mario games for the most part.
Exactly, and even like Donkey Kong Country or Tropical Freeze, Nintendo kind of thing.
Yeah,
platformer.
So I'm just like, yep, it's 3 hits. Won't be too hard. Although he did ask, he's like, does Bowser take more hits? And I'm like, I don't know. He probably does.
Oh, have you not gotten to Bowser yet?
So I'm under limitations of I should not go play farther until he can at least get to the next area.
Oh,
okay. I have rules now.
Got it.
He does not want me to get too far ahead of him.
That makes sense.
So I've been holding off my playing of it a bit.
That's why you've been playing Stardew Valley.
Yeah, that, and played some Shovel Knight, but we can get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. This episode, we're going to talk about the news that came out this week that EA well, let's see here. Nexon put in a bid to buy Respawn, which is based in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And EA basically has a right of refusal, and they had 30 days to make a counter offer, which they did. And I guess Respawn accepted, or it was just, it was a higher bid.
That's the thing. I have a feeling like
they just didn't have a choice. Like,
I don't know. Depends on what the contract is, but basically, I have a feeling if it was a better offer, they had to accept it. I bet that's how it went.
Right.
Like, I'm sure there's all sorts of contract stipulations and stuff, but yeah. So.
Well, it's interesting because Nexon's the publisher of their mobile game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically Microsoft's buying it for $444 million, which includes
EA, not Microsoft.
No, damn it, EA, not Microsoft. EA's buying them for $444 million, which includes like incentives and
that's what
stock
the incentives
options or
right?
whatever.
The bonus.
Yeah, like the Metacritic score.
Yeah.
Like they even named Titanfall 3, so we know that's coming eventually.
Yeah.
But also the Star Wars game.
That's bonus. So ignore that part. So whether they sold for $330 something,
right?
Straight up right now with the ability to get more.
Exactly.
So from history, good luck getting that extra. Just you better have promised correctly.
Well, and that's because it's tied to like Metacritic scores, right? And who knows if you're going to get there.
Yeah, I mean,
and other benchmarks, I guess.
Let's take this. PopCap sold for cash and everything for about twice that to EA. But then we had what would have brought it to just over $1 billion of sale if we had hit our numbers.
And that never happened?
No, not even close.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We promised the moon, and that's the problem. Like, hopefully the Respawn guys didn't promise the moon. Like,
so it was more on PopCap's side with the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to EA.
It's all negotiation stuff.
I see. Right.
So, I mean, yeah, sure, EA is kind of pushing as well, but you as the company being sold, you're promising what you will do for that company when you will hit these targets and what dates to hit these targets and the whole thing.
Right.
And yeah, PopCap hit none of them. So.
Wow.
But the targets were insane. Like there was.
And were they that insane to entice EA to buy you guys, or?
I have no clue. I mean, we enticed EA had already tried to buy us a year and a half earlier, 2 years earlier. So they wanted us.
They wanted your IP, at least.
They wanted the IP, and we produced that we could. With the success at that point of Bejeweled Blitz being like one of the top-selling mobile games,
right?
Plants vs. Zombies being insanely popular, especially mobile and phone stuff, just doing gangbusters. But they also were like, okay, we want that and the revenues and the whole thing.
Right.
But there was a lot of promise of, well, if these franchises can produce that much, then all of our franchises can, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Didn't even come close. Right.
So you're right in saying that we should be saying it's 333 million.
Should only focus on what they're getting right now.
Right.
And then good luck for them to get that bonus.
Right.
Because that's on them. And I would say to them being through it, not if they don't get that bonus and they don't hit the numbers, that's when things will get very rough under EA. When you will be pulled it closer to the mothership and have to start dealing with the more EA bureaucracy and general process.
Yeah, I feel like my reaction to this news was, well, I guess they're going to be closed down in 3 years, just because on the heels of Visceral being shut down, and having seen EA do that to other companies as well, it's kind of like my knee-jerk reaction initially.
They could survive, but it's hard to transition like that as a company.
Right.
Like you want to isolate your culture and keep it generally. I mean, Respawn seems generally successful. Like they have a good they produce quality games,
right?
And it's hard to maintain that whenever now you have people above you wanting something else. Potentially, you basically have to manage, like especially their upper management and their executive level has to manage up as well as down now.
Right. And before they didn't have to; they just had to go down.
The up was lighter since it was just a publishing partnership.
Right.
That it was a lighter thing as opposed to, like, do they have to use Frostbite now?
Oh yeah.
Do they get to keep using their same engine? I mean, that comes, and if let's say they don't hit their targets and they start getting pulled in a couple years, get pulled in, and it's like, fine, you get to use your own engine now for what you're trying to do, because that's hopefully you'll be most successful at. But if they're not successful,
then they'll have to switch over.
Then they might be like, sorry, you don't need your engine tech team anymore. Like, why? That's just going against your books and your numbers. So why don't you just use this engine we have?
Because it seems to add many years to the development cycles, because it can't handle these games.
It could. It's just mostly like all engines are different.
Yeah.
And they're tool sets, and it takes time to learn the tools and make them work for what you're trying to make.
Well, the book that you have, the Blood, Sweat, and Pickles, so many of the, like Dragon Age and one other game in there was like, because they had to bolt on these things to Frostbite, because Frostbite wasn't supposed to be this. It was supposed to be for first-person shooters or whatever.
Yep. I mean, it was designed for FPSs out of DICE. Like, that was it. When I was at PopCap, when Inquisition was being made, we had 3 people from BioWare come in. I got to go have lunch. It was me and a couple other people. We were known as the big BioWare fans in the office. So we got to go have lunch with these, like, it was a designer, content designer, an artist, and like a technical, I wouldn't call him a tech artist. Yeah, he's probably more around the technical artist side of things. And they were talking about the time it took them to get Frostbite working how they needed it. It was like, he was talking like they had people from DICE from Sweden come to Edmonton and stay there for 6 months to teach them.
Right.
And get the engine working so that they could actually do like third-person models and everything they needed to. Like, it was a lot of work. And I can only imagine that that's not really easier.
Well, I was going to say, like, does that save you money, like, from licensing out someone else's engine? Or I don't know what BioWare was using before that. Like, what did they use for Mass Effect 2?
Mass Effects 1, 2, and 3. All Mass Effects are Unreal 3.
So they had to pay the licensing fee to Unreal.
Yeah, for Unreal at that point.
Yeah,
at that point.
So they're just avoiding those fees.
Dragon Age 1 and 2 were their own engine.
Mm-hmm.
And then they went Unreal for Mass Effect, and then now they're just Frostbite.
Right. So the upside is they don't have to pay someone else a licensing fee. The downside is that it could take years to learn it for a new team, maybe. Yeah,
the ramp up is huge, and so as we've also learned from that, what was Visceral had very big problems there.
Yeah, that was it. That was the other one.
Their Star Wars game, like the amount of time it was taking them to get Frostbite to work in that like third-person action adventure sort of way was not a trivial amount of time.
Right.
And this sounds like they were still fighting with it towards being closed down.
Well, an interesting thing about this recent news that Jason Schreier put out was that Respawn and the idea that EA was going to buy them was kind of instrumental in them deciding to close Visceral, because the Respawn Star Wars game was much further along and looked much better, apparently.
Yeah. So you also should know Titanfall, and I assume Titanfall 2, I'd have to look up too, they use their own version of the Source engine.
Really?
Which is the Half-Life 2 engine.
Right. So they license that from Valve?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
And they've been using that. I mean, I know Titanfall, the original Titanfall was on it. I can only imagine Titanfall 2 is. Like,
right.
It wasn't a long turnaround between those games. So, yep, engine, Source.
Huh.
So, yeah, they use their own custom version of Source. They got the source code from Valve. So,
right. So they're still paying licensing fees for that then too.
Possibly. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I don't know how Valve allows a lot of use of the Source engine if you want it, because you see games made on it all the time, like indie games made on it all the time.
Right.
So it's a thing. Like, so that means is that Star Wars game using their version of Source?
I can only imagine that they're using
they got it up and so fast and got it so far along. It probably is, because that means they've had the tools and the pipeline all developed. They just be like, we're making a Star Wars game. Go.
Yeah, it's got to be tools that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
So I wonder, I guess something I don't know is if it's that far, I don't know how far along is, but does that mean we're going to see it in like 2019? Like, is that the timeline for this Star Wars game?
I could see 2019.
Yeah.
If they're using this tool set, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at that point. Like, maybe we see something out of it. I doubt they showed at E3 this year.
Yeah.
But E3 2019, early 2019, and it's a fall release, 2019. Yeah, I could see that. I could see 2 years.
I like those announcements where they put it out at E3 and say it's out this fall.
Yeah, I could totally see that being a possibility if they continue and they're not bogged down by bureaucracy. Because also in that Visceral article, the part that killed me was they were talking about Visceral's Star Wars game and the gates. Do you remember that part where they're talking about you have to show your prototypes and you go through these gates?
Right. And
so I was leaving PopCap, I had to go. These things became a thing that you had to do, especially as you got closer to EA. Like, nope, you're not successful your way. Here's how we're doing it.
Right. And
so you had Gate 0, which is this weird one, which is you have a prototype. Do we want to put it into pre-production? Then like Gate 1 is into full production.
And at those gates, you're taking that to EA executives and saying, "Here's what we have."
There's a broader range. It gets higher up. The farther the gate is, the bigger it, like the more important the people are that are thumbs upping you through that gate.
And aren't those people who are higher up further removed from what?
Yes, of course.
Of course, yeah. Okay. So they could just not get it at all.
And this looks, no. and in theory, like, okay, that's fine. But the Visceral article showed me what I remember the pain point being, because they had to do like a gate. They were getting through Gate 3, which is like, hey, we're going to release this game, basically. We're going to do everything to get it done. They had to do like a Gate 3.5.
Right.
And this crap came up all the time where they're like, yeah, we're going to move the goalpost on you. These aren't going to be set. We're not. We're going to, instead of killing it now, we're going to do this weird thing about like, well, we're not going to kill it now, but maybe you can save it. We'll check back in. And it just didn't make anyone feel good at all.
What's the goal for EA to do that? They'd just be burning more money if they know they're going to delay it or cancel it later anyways.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. They're hoping they'll turn it around. Yeah. But still, I've never heard it happening. So,
like once you hear Gate 3.5, you're like, yeah, this is getting canned.
Yeah, I mean, morale in the team is pretty much screwed at that point. It's never at that far, but we had like weird. I won't say the projects, but there were definitely projects while at PopCap I was there who they're like, cool, you made it through Gate 1. Well, we don't want you to do Gate 2 yet, so we're going to do like a Gate 1.5. That was actually said, and
that's annoying.
Just made the team super frustrated, and like I know a lot of people left off that team. So.
Well, that's what it sounded like it was happening at Visceral. It was an open secret that everyone at Visceral, not everyone, but tons of people at Visceral were just looking for different jobs throughout the whole process.
Yeah,
because they were just tired of it.
They don't want to deal with that. You don't want to try. It's hard making games like that, especially big, like for them, I'm sure giant games like that, when you're constantly looking over your shoulder wondering are we just going to get axed? Like,
well, it's just, at the basic level, it's hard to make art with that.
Yeah.
In the back
you feel like you don't have the support of management at that point and executives. They're like, well, which is important. You need to know to feel like if you're doing this, that they actually want this game and want you to be successful. I think it was Jason Schreier that was like, if he posted this, and I'm like, you're right. If EA was being very nefarious, so he put the timeline of a tweet of timeline into place of, all right, Titanfall 2 comes out last year at a really horrible time.
Right.
Like sales don't do great. Okay. Was that purposely to lower the price?
Well,
of Respawn?
Right, and I heard that argument today on a different podcast, and the kind of argument was...
I don't think it is, but I mean, like, it's easy to see it like, you're like, wow.
Yeah, the kind of argument was that just, they could. I mean, it's perfectly feasible, and it kind of squares with the idea that it didn't make any sense why they released it like that. Like, if they had pushed to Q1 of this year, for example, it would have done gangbusters, I think.
Yeah.
But it just seems, I think the podcast person I was listening to today, the host said something like, you're shooting yourself in the foot now for potential gain later that may or may not come to fruition. So I think it's a conspiracy theory that kind of makes sense with looking backwards, but I don't think that's what they did, but there's no reason why.
I don't think it's rarely ever planned that well.
Right. But if you wanted to save yourself a couple $100 million, like that's one way to do it.
Yeah, but I don't think they knew that like Nexon was going to be buying them or anything. So
Right.
it's not like EA started this conversation.
Right. Yeah,
with
no,
like,
it's
hey, we're going to
Nexon.
buy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. That's why it doesn't hold water. But I was like, man, that is
It's food for thought.
incredibly nefarious and
Yeah,
totally
and-
something they could have done. Like,
Well, and it fits the whole narrative of EA being a pretty shitty company right now that people would just kind of cast that onto them,
Yeah.
and it kind of sticks because it makes sense.
well, they kind of are being a shitty company right now.
Especially with at least from what I'm reading into Battlefront 2's loot boxes and progression systems.
Oh my god.
It just makes me like, I'm not touching that game. I mean, if I
Nope.
do, I'm going to rent it. But
Yep.
even
for its 5-hour campaign.
Well, but did you see what they're doing with the campaign? Yeah, it's a 5-hour campaign because there are like 2 or 3 content drops in the next few months that will give you another mission for the single player campaign. So apparently the single player campaign, from a person who's already played it, it ends sort of abruptly, and that's because you get extra missions later down the line. So if you rented it to try to play the single player campaign this month, you wouldn't be getting all of it apparently. So it's free, like it's free content coming down the pipe, but it's a way
just
for them
spacing it out.
so that you keep the game longer, you know?
Yeah. It's all about keeping the game longer now.
It really is. Because a 5-hour campaign, like we could red box that for one day and be done with it.
Yeah, I could be done with
So-
that in a night.
Exactly. So they don't want people to be done with it that quickly.
Yeah, and there's that. There's the. I was reading the thing on because the original post that I saw was like it would take 40 hours to unlock like a hero.
Mm-hmm.
The person that was telling it was a Reddit post I was reading was talking about it being like a 5-hour campaign. Said by the end of the campaign you have about right around 30,000 credits from
Which was
beating the
about
campaign.
half
of Luke.
Right. Which is the most expensive one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's not. It doesn't seem like it's 40 hours then, but maybe.
It'd be 40 hours roughly if you were starting from zero. So if you got 60, you get your 30,000.
Right.
You earn 30 more thousand, however you're doing it. Buy Luke, and now you're back at zero. If there's another 60,000 credit person,
Oh, I see.
you're starting. It's going to take you like 40 hours.
And you can't get halfway there through the campaign again.
No.
Got it. Yeah,
One-time thing. So you're now grinding for that, which then EA puts out their thing today that going like, we want to make it, what was it? What was the term? It was pretty awesome.
Oh God, the recurrent consumer spending? No, that was
No. This was the intent is to provide players a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes.
I saw that.
Which would be a true statement if you couldn't just buy currency and buy the character.
Right.
Because sure, I could hold it as an achievement, as a trophy, if it was like everyone has to grind for this thing. You have to play, you have to put in the time, and you get it. But that's not
People
true.
can just buy it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
people can just buy it. So how do you know? Like,
Right.
how do you? It tarnishes that achievement. So
It just seems like they took a game, they tried to wring nickels out of every gamer in every single corner of it, and it's just like I'm not going to support that game with my money because I think it's doing gross things on so many levels, and that's just based upon pre-release feedback, but it seems pretty legit. So I'm waiting for it to release for the grander audience to say, oh yeah, this is what's happening or not.
yeah.
Did you see that other Reddit post? The person who was saying that he has insider knowledge somehow. I don't know if this is legit or not. Who was saying that like Battlefront, the first one, of this round basically, a couple years ago, it was the season pass you had to pay for. So now they took the season pass out, but they put loot boxes in, and then when the loot boxes fail, they're going to say, well, we're going to have to go back and do the season pass because we couldn't get enough money from the loot boxes.
Oh, I'm sure they can totally do that. Like, and that's. I don't think you need an internal person to know that. Like, if this doesn't work out, they will find another way.
Right.
Because this also comes down to where we're talking about before. They're selling these games. Really, they're putting way more money into them than they should if the game was just going to cost $60.
Right. Well, in the hopes that they're going to get all that money out from the recurrent consumer spending, which is the Take-Two executives lingo. But Take-Two made 42% of the revenue off of basically shark cards for Grand Theft Auto 5. But I mean, gamers like to be upset about this, and I'm upset about it too. But I get to be upset about it because I don't buy this. I don't buy loot boxes. I don't buy any of this stuff. I don't buy microtransactions at all. But a lot of gamers do. So we're buying it. So they're going to keep doing it because it's making them money.
They are. They're going to keep doing it. And that's my thing here, which is going to be sad, is that Battlefront 2 is going to come out. It's going to do incredibly well.
Yes.
Like I can't see that it's
million.
Last Jedi's coming out like a month after this game comes out. It's just it's gonna sell like crazy, and it doesn't even matter. And then the loot boxes are gonna sell like crazy because they always do.
Well, and it's I feel like with us and gamers like us who are like tapped into the pulse of the gaming community, we're like, oh, people are gonna not do this.
No, they're gonna.
We're like 1% of the people who are gonna buy this game. So, and they're gonna buy it, and they're like, whoa, I can buy this thing to get that suit or get this hero. Sure, I'll throw $20 into that to get it because I don't buy any other games. Versus us, we buy lots of games, and we want to use that money to buy a different game. So. Yeah.
or buy a Switch like I did.
Or buy a Switch, or I'm saving my ducats for Black Friday deals.
That's true.
There's some
good ones.
There's some real good ones. Like I'll probably tell you later what I'm going to get.
But then there's also the thing that we'll get to in what you're playing. The whole thing right now just makes me, I'm like, fine, I'm not going to buy another EA game for a while.
Yeah, right.
Like, just not going to touch them.
Yep. I think that's it's the right attitude. How many gamers like us does it really have any impact on EA?
No, I mean, we're going to see sales numbers shortly. Maybe it'll be slightly who knows, but it's hard to say. I mean, how much Battlefront 1 a couple of years ago sold 14 million, 15, some ridiculous number. It was far higher than I ever expected.
Right.
So I don't expect that this is going to sell any less. It honestly does have more content. It has a single player.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling it's going to resonate with a lot of people, and they're just not even going to care about the loot boxes being there.
And I contend that most of them don't even know. They just see this thing like, okay, that sounds cool. Like they don't understand the controversy or even understand like that that's this kind of gross mechanic that's worked its way into games.
Yeah,
so.
It's not going anywhere. I know we talked about it a few weeks ago, but this is just it's all I see right now. All the time.
Well, that's
unless I'm playing a Nintendo game.
Well, and it seems like it's the year of loot boxes, but there are lots of games this year that are high quality games that don't have that.
Yeah. Ubisoft did say that they're gonna have loot boxes no matter what going forward.
Take-Two is the one that said that.
Take-Two? I thought Ubisoft said something like.
Well, they might have, but
these are just gonna be in there. Like
Take-Two in the last week, that was the big news. Take-Two said recurrent consumer spending is going to be in every title we make from here on out, starting with Red Dead Redemption 2 and all this stuff. So.
Wow.
Ubisoft could have said it too, but I don't remember hearing that. Although, Assassin's Creed has it, for example, but they've always had it where you can buy Helix credits, so it's not really any different right now. But looking at the big games this year, Horizon didn't have them, Neo didn't have them. One game that I have that I keep wanting to go back to,
Nier.
Thank you. Nier didn't have it. Persona 5, I don't think. Yeah. Right.
No.
And of course,
they had DLC. They had costume stuff that like one time between like $5 and $10 purchases if you want different costumes for your characters, cosmetic stuff. But
I still think that's
it wasn't a loot box. It was just like, hey, do you want the Persona 4 costumes for your Persona 5 characters? Do you want the Catherine costumes for whatever? And they gave a couple free as well. So
I still think cosmetics is the way to do it. I think people are so pissed at Battlefront because it's pay to win.
Oh yeah. Well, of course, in a multiplayer game. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's so dumb.
It's not what you want. I mean. Overwatch doesn't. There's no pay to win there. It's all cosmetic.
No, it's all cosmetic. And they've done it, in the way to incentivize people to buy more boxes.
CS:GO, any of those? Right. Like it's not pay to win for those.
Right, and Overwatch has done it in a way where it's RNG, so that encourages you to buy more. I would prefer to just be able to buy the costume, but I understand they would make less money that way.
Yeah.
So. I mean, that's what, all this stuff is what we're afraid is going to happen for Respawn, and it just seems likely considering EA's track record and obviously your experience.
That means that their Star Wars game and Titanfall 3 will have to have the stuff in it.
Yes, absolutely. And people were comparing it to Dead Space, where Dead Space 3 ended up having it and then didn't do well.
Yep. So, fun times.
Here to stay, man. So, that's our discussion about Respawn. Maybe we can talk about some happier things like what we're playing.
Sure. Who wants to start?
I'll go.
Okay.
I played Oculus Rift, like the release version, basically.
Yeah.
I played DK2 with you, or was it DK1?
It was DK2.
Okay, DK2. So I played Super Hot VR.
Sweet.
God, it's amazing. First of all, this it's just amazing. The VR experience was incredible. There was like a first contact kind of tutorial game where there's like a Rob the Robot basically, and you're using a 3D printer to print different things like weapons, toys, and all these different things. You can interact with the entire environment, and it's just you're there. It feels like you're there. There's not really like a screen door effect. It's just like I was there in my friend's living room just doing this crazy stuff. And then did Super Hot VR, which was incredible. It's so hard to describe VR, like but it's the Super Hot game, but you're grabbing guns with the touch control. Yeah, you're just there, and you're being surrounded by these characters that you have to like attack, and if you move, they move, and all. It's the trappings of Super Hot, but in VR. The only thing that was a little difficult, and I understand why some people are waiting to like VR 2.0, is the cable on the headset. Like you can't move too freely, and in a game like Super Hot, you kind of need to spin around and do these different things. Yeah. I almost punched my friend's TV. Apparently, I was going to punch an enemy in the face, and I went down. I was going to punch the TV, and I came up to his head at the last second and came up and missed the TV. And he's like, "Hold on a second." And he comes over and like rolls the TV out of the way. So that was just incredible. And then I did Batman or Arkham VR, or is it Batman VR?
Whatever. Yeah.
So I played it start to finish. It was about 50 minutes, and it was awesome. It was so good. They basically, you don't move, you press a button to go to like a different point. You kind of teleport basically.
That's the standard right now.
Right, that's the fix to get away from the motion sickness.
And because you can't, for the most part, you're confined to a small space. Like you can't have just free walking right now.
Right.
So
it was just it was really smartly put together. Like it was a very short story, but very engaging, kind of tied into like Arkham Knight. And just by the end, it's just like this psychological mindfuck that was just surprising, and really, it was just like reading like a really well-crafted short story, but I was in it. And there are places where it wasn't really that interactive, where like if I would try to attack someone, nothing would happen because they were just talking to me or whatever. But you had like basically three items. You had a batarang, you had a analyzer, and you had the grappling hook basically. And you had to use those tools to figure out these puzzles and progress through the environments. And it just looked stunning. Like the character models, the action, like it was. I mean, I played it for 50 minutes, didn't get sick. I mean, I got a little bit of a headache because of the headset itself, but other than that, it was just unbelievable. It was so good. And I know people were kind of a little bit down on it when it came out last year, but just because it was short and it's not action heavy at all. You're not fighting. You're just exploring your environment. But I felt like Batman, like legit. It was great. If it had launched this year, it'd be like in my top 5 just because of how unique of an experience it was. And the game I've been playing mostly this week, or most of the week, is Destiny 2. I've been working through the campaign, 1 or 2 missions per night. Basically, I've got like 3 to 5 more.
And then your response to me today was Destiny 2 meh, which is so not what I'm like. You were so much happier with that game last week.
I was like the beginning, like it had a lot of promise, and I think the end's going to have the same promise. I think that it's like starts off on a peak, goes to a valley, and comes back up to a peak. Just the middle of the thing is just like kind of the same thing over and over. Like I'm just running through environments, finding enemies, shooting them, running again, finding enemies, shooting them, running again. Like just it's not really that
honestly
engaging.
That's kind of the Bungie style.
I
remember that from Halo 3 especially.
Right.
Like playing through that co-op with Halo was like, all right, run to the next area or drive to the next area.
Right.
All right, new unique map space, but okay, enemies spawning, just fight them. Okay, on to the next thing. Like
it's exactly.
Just
it reminds you.
Just go down the checklist.
It's Halo. Like it is Halo, which is so a little disappointing because I thought the beginning was really engaging, and there are some characters that are interesting, but like when you're meeting the Vanguard again, like their role in the game so far is really small. Like Nathan Fillion, Cade 6, for example, is probably in the game maybe 30 minutes. Like it's not very long. So he might come back at the end. I think we're all planning this assault at the end or whatever, but there's not as much as I thought there would be, and there's these interstitial like cutscenes with Gaul and the speaker, and
Yeah.
that's slowly unwinding, but it's not. I'm hoping there's going to be a payoff. If there is a payoff, I think my opinion will go up. But right now it went from like, this is pretty cool to like meh, because it's just the same right now. Like, it's just monotonous right now. And what I found myself doing is just running past enemies. Like, I'm not going to sit here and fight you. I don't need the experience. I don't need the items. I just blow through the environment to get to the end part, so I can just keep going. And I've been doing that for like 3 or 4 missions now. And I'm like,
that's not a good sign.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't think I like this very much. However, the challenges are awesome, like really awesome. So what happened about halfway through, before I could go on to the next planet, I had to be like level 12, and I was only level 9, so I had to stay and grind. So I decided to do these challenges. And I was kind of annoyed because the game was making me do things I didn't want to do in order to progress through the storyline. But the challenges have been the best part of the game. The challenges are like, take the raid, boil it down to like these like just kind of off the wall challenges, like some platforming challenges, some puzzles, just really unique gameplay, and take it from like, you know, like a whatever 10-hour raid experience or whatever it was to like a 30-minute experience. Like, just really smart. Like, there was this one challenge where there was tons of different platforms, and I had to run from each one to another to like unlock some globe basically. And when I unlocked that globe on platforms several places away, I had to go fight enemies. And then when I fought those enemies, they dropped something I had to bring to another place to solve this weird like electricity puzzle. It was more than just mindless shooting, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another one where you get to, throughout this whole challenge, you're like stepping through different shafts of light to like unlock something to progress to the next area. And the mechanic was used in so many different ways that when you got to the boss, all those mechanics were used together to beat the boss. So you had to like step in the light to lower his shield, to then attack him in a certain way to take health off him basically. It almost felt like Odyssey in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas you're going through each kingdom, you're like learning that one thing. Like in Lake Kingdom, you're like doing the spinny thing or whatever, and then the boss, you do the spinny thing I was at.
I kind of feel like when we talk about Mario, but they are fantastic at that. And I think there's actually been some, if you look online for GDC talks or other talks, Nintendo, and I think they talked about it with Galaxy specifically. It was just part of what they do in their design. Like,
yeah,
they teach you everything you need to know by the time you get to the boss, and make you repeat those lessons.
And that's good teaching, right? That's how you teach in an effective way. And these challenges are doing that, and they're so unique compared to like the slog of the campaign. And I just wish the narrative was better. It's not great.
I wonder what happened.
I don't know.
Let's be honest, the narrative was probably never going to be fantastic. Like, better than the first, sure, but that bar is really low.
Yeah, it is better than the first, but it's not. That doesn't say much.
Yeah.
But there's a character, Failsafe, which is like a sentient, or it's AI. That's like the best character in the game. That character is really worth the price of admission. So, you know, at this point, this game is either a rental for a weekend or a skip. And I'll see how the ending comes out. But I was really digging it, and now I'm just like, I gotta finish it now because I'm so close to the end. But I'm really excited about having GameFly. Let me tell you, it saved me a lot of money.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it in this regard.
Yeah, and then the other thing I've been playing this week is Mario Odyssey. I picked it back up and got through. I'm not sure how far you are.
I'm in the Lake Kingdom somewhere.
Oh, okay. So I beat the Lake Kingdom finally because I kept getting. I didn't know where to go, and I finally figured it out. And then I got to the next one and the next one, and what happens after the Lake Kingdom is pretty rad. Like it's, I haven't seen a Mario game do this thing, and it was really cool to see this thing.
Okay, don't spoil. Oh yeah, I have to play it some more.
It's good, yeah. And
which I think I'll probably start playing it more now that my son is he finished the final boss and is just collecting moons, so I'll go back to collecting moons in Lake Kingdom and progress past that point.
And you each have a different save file, right?
Yeah, I created a separate account for him.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So his save was, because every time you start a game, it asks you what account you want to start as. So
that's how you have the different save files.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's good to know.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, really easy.
Yeah, I assume on the system each account has its own save space.
Yeah.
So
that's my gaming this week.
My gaming has been a bit of Mario and Light Kingdom. Not a ton, because I can't go too far. We'll go through. I played Shovel Knight, the first 2 missions.
Oh, awesome.
I've been playing through it. It's really good.
Yeah.
What
do you like about it?
There's something very simple about it, but let's say, like, you have one attack. Well, you have 2 attacks. You have a stab with your shovel and jump with your shovel. Like, there's not a whole lot you're doing there. Like,
right.
But the immense variation that they do on that, like how you have to do it, is fantastic. Like, it's totally 8-bit old school from a design, with some more modern sensibilities added in over time. But yeah, I guess you have your relic slot too now. I have that for the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's just incredibly clean. That's kind of how I feel playing it. Like,
yeah,
it's a polished platformer. And there's
like really smart level design. I think.
Yeah, the level design is really good. And then just going through it, there's a ton of games there now. Like, so there's the base game, which I'm playing, and what is there, 2 others?
2 other ones. Yep.
Yeah.
And they get progressively better. Like, Shovel Knight's good. I think that
that's amazing if they get better.
The one I'm playing now, I think, is the best one. Spectre of Torment, is that the one I'm playing right now?
Okay.
It's the one. It's not Plague Knight. It's the one after Plague Knight.
Okay.
Anyway, they're all good, but they just got better. And then there's one more expansion coming out, the King, where you play as King Knight.
Okay.
And I think we get that for free. So I think so. I'm not sure exactly.
It's really cool. Thank you for gifting it to me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I figured you'd like it.
Yeah. No. It's just kind of a great experience all around. Really smart, funny writing, self-aware writing, but also self-aware of the 8-bit era as well. Like, the whole thing, you're just like, this is ridiculous, but charming beyond belief.
Well, there's also like a gender swap option.
I did see that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I didn't do it, but I saw that you could.
But on a second playthrough or whatever, I'm looking forward to doing that. I haven't gone back to it. I've been playing the expansions since then.
There's so much content there.
Yeah, well, I was worried that I know you're not a huge fan of platformers, so I didn't know how you'd receive it, but that sounds like you like it.
No, it's the right type. Yeah. And then
it's not too punishing, you know.
No, the time that I died the most was because of a stupid jump.
Oh. Okay.
Like, there's in the first level, there was like one point where you have to land on a tiny platform.
Right.
And I was like, God, I died like 3 times there because I just couldn't land on this stupid little platform.
I think my favorite mechanic from that is if you really want to challenge, you just bust the globes so that you don't have save points.
I didn't try that. No, I didn't try that. Oh.
Yeah,
that's painful.
Yeah, you get to those things and you light it so then you restart there, right?
Yeah.
Just break it. You'll get gold and whatever else, and then you can't come back to that spot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was a way for them to make it challenging for people who wanted that.
Challenge. Okay. That actually is really smart.
Yeah.
So beyond that, I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley. It's the best thing. I've been waiting for that thing.
Oh, man.
I love it. I love that game. I love it so much, and I love it that it's portable now. It's not even wait for the next day. Like, when it was on the PC, you could leave it up and, like, with a inventory screen open if you wanted to walk away from the computer.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Switch, you can just press the home button or the power button, and it will save you, like, save state your game exactly where you are.
So on the PC,
I don't have to wait to the next day. It only saves whenever you go to the next day. So you don't want your Switch to turn off.
Right.
But I can just hit the button and put it back in its dock and be done with it for a bit.
So on the PC, you open up the inventory and then the time stops.
The time will flash and stop.
Okay.
But still, it's kind of annoying. Like,
yeah. Tricky though.
Yeah, but here on the Switch, it's just so much easier. And I can be out by my fire. I can be on the couch. I can be in bed. I can be in my office. I can be wherever and just play a day of Stardew Valley. I can be on my commute.
Right.
I found that my commute is like the perfect time to get a day in of Stardew Valley. So, yeah.
Well, it's just so cool that you don't have to wait till the
end of the
day.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. It's exactly what I wanted out of this game, and it's.
Do you think you've played more hours on it on the Switch already than you did on PC?
No,
okay.
Okay. Not even close. I'm not even done with. I'm not done with the first year.
Oh.
On the PC, I got to year 3.
Oh, okay.
So, and there's somewhat fixed times. So, because a day will take about 15 to 20 minutes, maybe longer if you're doing like dungeons and fishing. But
right.
So it's not a game that you can kind of like go faster at. I guess you could. I guess you could just immediately go to sleep, but then you'd be not doing anything.
You wouldn't get anything done. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're the laziest farmer on the planet.
Yeah. I don't know. It plus Mario and now Shovel Knight. I'm like, I don't need another game on Switch for a while. This is great.
Yeah.
I got my bases covered.
Well, you got 3 very different games. That's really that's awesome.
But
I think that you're going to be interested in Xenoblade, though.
I did watch the Direct.
too.
I am interested. I just gotta. It'll probably be on my Christmas wish list for people.
Yeah,
like for family and stuff. Like,
right.
I don't. Again, I bought a Switch. Like my gaming budget is decimated.
Yeah. Right.
Which is fine. I'm very happy to have the Switch. Like.
Yeah, and you got some good games. So.
Yeah. So
I mean, the 3 games you have, you could play for a very long time.
I'm hoping that those will just last me. Until like Christmas time. I can figure out what I want to do after that and kind of and also just in general gauge all the games that have come out and what's kind of settled as games that I really want to play and ones that I'm like, yeah, I don't care that much because there's just so much right now. When does the Zelda DLC drop? They still say end of the year, right? They haven't given a date.
Nope, no date, but they said this coming out this year, which is crazy because it's already the 12th. So...
And the Champion Amiibos came out, right?
They came out Friday.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay.
So I don't know what's happening.
How much you want to bet that last Friday was the initial release date?
I think it was, because why would you put those out otherwise?
Yeah.
I think it's
hard to stop physical good manufacturing and shipping when you delay it's harder to stop that than it is to delay a digital release.
Yeah, I just don't know. They don't have a lot of time left, but I mean, whenever they put it out, I'm going to put everything else down and go and play it because I'm thinking that Zelda's going to be somehow involved, and I'm very interested in that.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, if it's dealing with the past and those champions,
right?
Like Zelda was a major part of that,
right? So I'm really, really interested in that.
I mean, Link was just her knight guardian,
right.
the appointed knight, like protect her while she goes and like collects these guardians and builds these machines, gets them up and running. So, yeah.
Yeah, the way Nintendo works, they put out information about something and then later they release it. So I don't know how they have time to do like here's the info dump and then 3 weeks later here's the game.
Yeah.
Because we know nothing about it.
No, not at all. But maybe that's good. Maybe they want to. Again, they're really good about keeping the news about them. So.
All year long, that's for sure. I guess even in the Xenoblade Chronicles too, it was Legend of Zelda info. You get like the Rex costume or whatever for Link. Yep. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Nintendo's been very good on their marketing so far. So I don't know. They announced another Direct here very soon, randomly out of nowhere, because they never pre-announced those things by that far. Right. Like, guess what? There's going to be a Direct in a week. Enjoy. You're like, what was this? Because the Xenoblade one was announced like a week before it happened this last week. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But with the Xenoblade one coming, I wonder if they were going to do another one so quickly, but they don't have much time. Unless it's going to be like a Game Awards announcement. They could do it because Xenoblade is the first week of December. Yeah. So they could do like a Direct after that. Yeah. And if you're like, guess what? The next thing you're going to want in a week and a half is 2 weeks is this. Crazy. That'd be crazy if it came out. That'd be perfect if it came out when I'm done with my semester. That'd be fantastic. That would be great. So yeah, let's do that. Oh wait, but then you have a baby to deal with. Well, yeah, but in my free time when I'm not with my baby, it's grading and planning. So that's true. Your free time is taken up with actual work things from being a teacher. Yeah. So without having that for a couple weeks, it'd be pretty nice to get a little more gaming in. Although I really want to get through Assassin's Creed Origins before the end of the year, before our discussion, because I think that might be a contender for me. Okay. We'll see. I started up. I booted up tonight. I can already tell you that Persona 5 is a contender for me again. Yeah. Like something triggered it in my head of like I'm thinking about that game a lot again. Did you go back to start playing it? I'm not going to start playing it right now. Okay. I just don't have I have other things to play. But yeah. I'm listening to the soundtrack again and like just something. I was like, oh, my brain's thinking about it again. So. Well, that's one of the Best Buy Black Friday sales. It's down to $30. Yeah. Everyone should get it. It's so good. Yeah, I think maybe a little bit too real in some ways for current news. So. Oh no. Be prepared. Yeah. I mean, you get to
to beat up on the creeper people. Like,
that's good.
But there's creeper people, very creeper pedophile people in there, and you get to destroy them, completely destroy them. But oh boy, like,
do you destroy them before or after they get elected to the Senate?
That's a good question.
Jesus.
No, they already have power, so they're abusing their power. I mean, the whole game's about abuse of power for the most part.
Right.
Like, that's a central theme of the entire game, and bringing people to abuse power to justice, and
that's been
what that means, and the whole thing. Like, but it doesn't shy away from the abuses of power. Like, it makes you hate these people.
Yeah.
So
well, unfortunately, abuse of power has been a theme in life forever.
It is.
Go back
it's
to
true.
the beginning of time. So
absolute power corrupts.
Absolutely. Speaking of absolute power, maybe not really. Did you hear who is coming to Tekken 7 next year?
No.
Noctis.
Really?
Yeah, Noctis is a character in Tekken 7.
Okay.
This just came out like a couple hours ago or hour ago or something like that.
Sure.
Awesome. So turning Tekken into Smash Brothers, kind of.
A little bit.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or,
well, you saw Injustice 2.
Oh my God, dude!
you get the turtles.
So excited! I forgot about that. So I love that game. It's really, really good. But I didn't buy the season pass because there's enough characters in the game. But I can play as the turtles. Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that. Like, I cannot wait. Like, they're gonna be released at the beginning of next year, so there's still some time. But like, yes, I want that. So excited.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up with excitement about some future things.
Yeah, started off some downer news, but talking about games we're playing fills us full of joy.
There's a lot of good games still. Even if there's crap, there's a lot of good stuff, and will always continue to be good games.
Yes, and this, even if you never play anything else ever again besides what came out this year, there's a lot to play. And I guess next week we'll be able to talk a little bit more about. We'll probably get a little further in Odyssey, and then I will have finished Destiny 2, so I can give my final verdict on that.
Yeah,
and
I want to
so
see if it's
shaky.
If it's better than meh.
Yeah, so far it's a meh. So we'll see. I'll let you know. I'll let everyone know. Again, he's at SummerSpeak. I'm at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Thanks for hanging out for episode 113, and we'll be back next week for 114. So talk to y'all later.
Thanks, everyone.